This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. Positive COVID-19 cases are on the rise in the Americas, and so are COVID-19 related deaths. This much coming from the director of the Pan American Health Organization, Dr. Jcn, during a virtual press conference yesterday.
Over the last week, nearly 1.3 million people became sick with COVID-19 in the Americas, and almost 31,000 died because of this virus. Today, we're seeing the virus pick up speed in about half of the countries in our region. The United States and Mexico are reporting a drop in new infections, while cases in Canada are accelerating, particularly among young adults ages 20 to 39. As new infections are decelerating in the Caribbean, many islands are reporting a rise in COVID-related deaths, including a doubling of COVID deaths in some islands.
According to Dr. Jcn, countries like Paraguay are experiencing an overload of COVID-19 patients in their hospitals, and major cities in South America are imposing stricter lockdowns and curfews to curb the spread of the virus. Currently, Brazil is now reporting the highest number of new infections in the Americas and has the second highest COVID-19 death toll in the world.
The situation in Brazil is a cautionary tale that keeping this virus under control requires continuous attention by public health authorities and leaders to protect people and health systems alike from the devastating impact of this virus. Data must continue to be the eyes and ears of our response, and local and national governments must act at the first sign that infections are on the rise by implementing measures to slow down transmission. We cannot afford to wait.
Dr. Jcn expressed that while PAHO is happy that many countries are receiving COVID-19 vaccines through COVAX or donations, she understands that the need for more is greater in the Americas and there is still more work to be done. Shifting gears, senators into day 2 of debate on the mid-year budget and a compendium of financial bills. Leading off debate on Wednesday, Minister of State for Finance, Senator Kwesi Thompson, reflected on where the country is today and discussed key plans for the future. Senator Thompson insisting that Bahamians remember that we are remarkable and resilient people.
None of us wanted to experience Dory or COVID, but I am absolutely convinced that our Bahamas will be stronger because we experienced Dory. Our Bahamas will be stronger because we experienced COVID. And though we mourn those who we have lost during these most challenging times, we remember them by continuing to fight, by continuing to rebuild, and by continuing to overcome.
So far, $210 million has been spent in direct COVID-related help, safety, and support benefits to save lives and reduce economic hardship. Minister Thompson says $18.4 million was spent for health, sanitation, and other related expenditures. $33 million was spent to fund the country's food support programs. $76 million was also spent in direct cash support to workers in need of unemployment assistance. Senator Thompson added that the government has decided to continue to support those individuals who have exhausted their NIB benefits. Meantime, Senator Renard Henfield making some recommendations that the government identify 5,000 acres of land in Grand Bahama and Andros away from the ocean and swamps, allowing Bahamian entrepreneurs via an online platform to submit a valid passport and pay an annual lease fee of $5,000 for an acre to be zoned and divided for an agricultural, educational, commercial, recycling, manufacturing, and residential district. He says as much in the upper chamber this morning.
My recommendation is that there be no VAT in that zone. It's nothing unusual. We've already introduced special economic zones. My recommendation is that there be no real property tax. Nothing new. Bahamians don't pay real property tax in the Family Islands. My recommendation is that there be no import duties for construction materials, equipment, or vehicles to be used in that district. Nothing new. Things we've done before, Madam President. But what will happen is that in less than a year, we would have made land ownership for entrepreneurs reachable, attainable at $5,000 per year.
With this, he says the government would create a packaging and export facility, residential and commercial rental complexes, hydroponic farms, and even a boarding school in Andros.
There can be theme parks in Andros, a tourist attraction for persons to go over to Andros. We've been Nassau-centric too long. There can be manufacturing facilities on these acreage of land. There can be assembly plants, and there can be breweries there in Andros. Madam President, after the 5,000 acres are leased at the $5,000 per acre, bringing in $25 million per year, which, as I indicated earlier, pursuant to page 17, would cover the $13 million allocated for local government. We can then move over with this initiative to Grand Bahama.
Senator Henfield says the only restriction he would have is that if the government goes live with this idea on December 1st of this year, construction must begin by May 1st next year.
The Bahamians can get together, acquire an acre of land in Andros, and go ahead and commence construction of a manufacturing facility, an assembly plant, a packaging facility, a building to house a boarding school, for instance. $5,000 an acre is attainable for a young Bahamian entrepreneur, Madam President.
Senator Henfield was delivering his contribution to the mid-year budget debate in the upper chamber. And in our national COVID-19 update, some 26 COVID-19 cases hospitalized, with at least 3 of them in intensive care, and this as health officials confirmed 15 additional cases of the virus in country for Thursday, March 17th. 7 confirmed here in the capital, 6 on Grand Bahama, and 2 on Abaco. 10 of those newly confirmed cases are male and 5 are females. The national count of cases now at 8,815, with 888 of that number active cases. 11 recoveries were also reported on Thursday, pushing the total in that category to 7,687. The death toll remains at 186, and to date, 72,503 tests have been completed. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.